parachute. I got the attention, I'm on a mission. No sweat in the way I step, I got a fresh new attitude. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. New look, got the ladies shook. New watch saying it's my time. These magazines wanna feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Man with a vision. Got a passion, making it happen. Ready for action. And this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. This is my world now. Hey! Here we go! We coming ready or not, you better steady yourself, because we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing off. We're taking over the town, hit the switch and shut it down. Like in New York, we're electric, never stop. We coming ready or not, we coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the strategy
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new Click It RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at Click It RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to LSR TV and FTN's coverage of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying Series Split 2, Round 5. Here this afternoon at the Bristol Motor Speedway. I'm Terry Radford. Next to me is this way, right, left, who cares? That's Daniel Falkenham, eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver, and all the way on the end with the brand new glasses on, looking really cute, Carrot Top himself, Jason Rockefeller. Dan, I'll start with you. We talked before we went live. This race has one or two ways to play out. We could either go green all the way through, or cautions could be cautions could breed cautions. Dang, procedures got me all messed up. But what are you expecting to see here tonight with some of the best of the best?
Yeah, for sure. We could, like you say, it could go either way. We could have some long green flag runs. We could have some yellows. Just going to depend on what the drivers are going to want to race, how aggressive you're going to be. Because this race is only 175 laps. So this could be very quick if we get a lot of green flag racing. But the urgency is going to be up for a lot of these guys if they end up qualifying poorly and they start in the back. But they got to make a lot of time quickly to get to the front with how short a race we have here tonight at Bristol. Not on the dirt, but on the concrete. So definitely, and also I think this is really going to be the first race where we're going to see who the cream of the crop is of this Road to Pro season and who are going to be the front runners all year long. So I'm really looking forward to see who's going to be up front tonight, who's really going to have the speed all year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting note. It is the concrete. This was a standalone Road to Pro. There was no there was no official lobbies this week for Bristol. It was Martinsville this week on the calendar. It is Bristol here for the Road to Pro. But Jason, I'll kick it to you. We got a decent opportunity to see a good race. I'm not going to say it'd be better than what the dirt race would have provided, but we have a good opportunity to see these truckers go around the concrete. What type of feel do you have going into this event that could potentially make this one of the best shows ever?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these guys lay down a qualifying lap, because I was talking to Kenny Brady this week for his test sessions for his split. and he's in split 1, and obviously this is split 2. He was telling me that track position is going to be absolutely key tonight. And Daniel, you know this, you've been through this procedure, that track position is very, very critical, very key. And to hit the nail on the head with another point that Dan did say is that this can only go pretty much 2 ways. And so did you, Terry. It's either going to be really green or it's going to be a caution-filled race. So, you don't really know. That's why you want to make sure you have a really good Q lap, and you want to make sure that you are consistent, you hit your marks perfectly, don't put yourself in any vulnerable positions where you could cause yourself and others around you to get involved in any sort of mess here tonight. But other than that, it should be a really exciting race. And we really saw one just a couple weeks ago at Texas with Anthony Burroughs picking up the win.
Yeah, it was a very good race from Anthony Burroughs getting the win here that afternoon. We're getting closer and closer to putting ourselves in the lobby. It's going to put us there. We got a couple special treats for people who watch LSR TV on a normal basis. We're going to break out some really cool stuff. We are in the lobby. I see live timing has popped up here. It's like they're in the qualifying session here. Maybe practice. Maybe it's still in practice. Yeah, I see 4 laps on the board. Speaking of Anthony Burroughs, he jumped to the top of the board when live timing popped up. But you got it, man. This is a stacked field. Yeah.
Sorry, having had a technical issue there, but we're all fine now. But yeah, we're just loading the session. I think qualifying's about to get underway here, and it's like I said, like you guys have mentioned, it's important to qualify well because this bit me really hard here when we had the Road Pro race here last year. I didn't get a good Q lap. I got stuck in the back, and I got involved in a wreck on lap 3. So it's really important to qualify well to stay ahead of all the melee and just try to stay out of trouble because my race was not enjoyable here last year. So definitely don't want to be like me and qualify down in like the 30s or something like that. So ready to see what we're going to see in this Q session coming up.
We're going to take a trackside and watch these drivers put the qualifying laps down as we have a partially overcast day here at Thunder Valley. And, well, you see Jake Sylvia coming out, Jason, coming to put his first laps on the board.
Yeah, and he's looking to have a really, really good run here tonight. In that number 4 Toyota TRD Tundra. You see him right now. It went from the top down to the bottom. It's going to be a bottom-hugging racetrack. You want to try to get all the momentum you can coming to the green flag in your qualifying lap, going from top all the way to bottom. That time around, 14.69 that last time around. So he was 5th up on the board. We'll have to see where he comes this time around. Checkered flag for him, 14.680. So not a lot of gain or ground gained right there. James Wenzel currently, though, at the top of the board with a 14.56 right now in qualifying.
This is the driver that I'm looking at here. In this Ford, the number 7 machine, Daniel Eberhardt, was very fast here throughout some of his practice. Ryko always brings a good setup here. His first lap, he's going to jump to the top of the board. So I talked about he had a good opportunity to do it, and I think he's only going to lay 1 lap down. He's going to call it done after that one. Talk about that for a second, Dan. 1 lap here on these tires, if you really push it, the second lap really doesn't matter?
Yeah, you're too focused on trying to build your momentum coming to the line to start your first lap. Essentially, you're giving yourself a one and done right there. As Anthony Burroughs, we were talking about earlier, he jumps to the top of the board here with a 5.23. But yeah, as I was mentioning, you pretty much want to nail this one and done because you're not going to have no momentum coming back to the line for your second lap, and I feel like your tires are only going to be good for 1 hard push lap around here. So it's important to build that momentum as fast as you can on your out lap to go for that 1 lap, that all 1 important lap here. And it looks like Anthony Burroughs and Daniel Eberhardt have really hit it good so far.
See Liam Sheen right there. He's going to jump up to the 8th place position. See Nathan Nicholson. He's going to come out in that 27 machine. We'll pop up the lower thirds throughout the night to reference. The numbers on the car does not reference the numbers that are on the timing and scoring. So when we go to a driver, we'll pull this up if the number does not match or correlate what we have here. But currently it is Anthony Burroughs, Daniel Eberhardt, James Wenzel, and Will Cooley, your top 4 as Taylor Hirsch jumps up there. and that was not a good run there for the 27. He pulls off, and there's our buddy Kwame Scott. He might be figuring something out, and Santiago Tires comes out, Jason. He's going to put his first lap down.
Yeah, he wants to try to have himself a good lap again, just like everybody else, going for the top, diving it all the way to try to arc it as much as he can. That last time around, 22.781 for Santiago Tires there in that number 15 machine. So he's trying to have himself a very good lap, not getting down on the bottom the way he wants to right there off the corner that time around. 14.612, that's going to jump him up just a little bit. So currently looks like, if I'm not mistaken, he should be somewhere around the top 10 right now.
Octavio Rondoletto is the next qualifier that's going to come out here with under a minute and a half remaining. It was a 14.581, brings him up to the 9th place position. He's about 5/100ths off of the pole here this afternoon. Still currently be held by Anthony Burrows, Taylor Hurst, Daniel Eberhardt, James Wenzel, Will Cooley, your top 5. There's Jonathan Delaney. I would say that McConey Setup Shops brought something to play out here, Dan. All of these setup shops really putting it on the line here this afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. Like we got Ryko up here. We got Nexus. I think right now Nexus has gotten all the momentum, like with Burrow's win last week and Logan Helton, who's gotten a couple of wins so far. That would feel like Nexus has been one of the teams I've been keeping my eye out for so far of how well they're performing at every single race that we've been to so far. But a lot of these other guys that you mentioned, like McConey, Ryko, and a lot of the other teams, their team are out there. You throw in Elliott Sadler Esports in the mix as well. Definitely a lot of variety up at the top here at the top of the board here. So definitely looking for a good race and see who has nailed their setup tonight, who's nailed that maybe long run pace if we get a long run, who's got the short run pace if we get a lot of cautions. Just got to wait and find out in about 5 seconds.
Well, and I'm not going to make the joke for Justin Bolio that, Jack and Coke normally goes together when it's spun in the same cup. But who am I, just a mere broadcaster here for the eNASCAR Road to Pro Series? Who knows? But their starting grid, we're going to get ready to take a trackside and bring that up. Starting on the pole, we got Anthony Burrows down here with Taylor Hurst to the outside. Row 2 will find Daniel Eberhardt and James Wenzel. Row 3, Will Cooley and Jackson Crowder. Row 4, you got Tyler Groff and Connor Euroshak. And rounding out that top 10, you got Octavio Rondoletto and Jonathan Delaney, Dan.
Yeah, for sure. We got Liam Sheet starting P11, Matthew Morton starting P12. And we got Garrett Conrath and Clayton Hoffman making up row 7. Lawson Peel and Dalton Collins making up row 8. Kwame Scott and Nathan Nicholson, row 9. And then John Jenkins and then Kyle F. Dragon rounding out the top 20.
Yeah, and then you got row 11. You got Kevin Champagne, the number 13. Jake Sylvia in the number 4. Row 12, Caden Rush in the 32. Always a fast driver on iRacing. And Jordan Kuntz there in the number 31. Row 13, Justin Botello and River Hayes in the number 6. Row 14, Thomas Lewandowski and Matthew Zwack in the number 8. And rounding out those, Matthew Batby, Zeke Willis in the 16. Row 16, Max Brady, Eric Royce. And last but not least, Santiago Tires, who I believe his qualifying laps were invalidated, along with Eric Royce there in qualifying. That's your starting lineup for tonight's race at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, those drivers caught the wall in their qualifying attempt and did not get a time down on the board. 175 laps around here. This is going to be fun. Nexus on a roll once again. Anthony Burrows takes the pole. I mean, daytime or nighttime, Dan, which concrete do you prefer? You prefer the warm one or do you prefer the cooler one?
I definitely prefer racing in the day because I just feel like hotter the track, the more slick it is, and I feel like it gives you more options to run. But like what we're going to see here, I think, as these guys get ready to take off here, I think everyone's going to be trying to fight for the bottom most likely, because that's where you're going to want to preserve your tires the most. It's better to run the bottom to preserve your tires, But if you feel that you can get a run somewhere, you can try to make that high line work in game positions. The only factor is if we get a long run here at the early part of this race, your tires are going to be hurting near the end of a long run. So definitely you're going to have a lot of options, especially in the daytime here. And we'll see if everyone can make the best of both lanes from the bottom to the middle to the top.
We'll see if the old Bristol does come back into play here. And still pacing here. Believe we're going to come. Should be one to go when they come across the line here. Should take that signal, or we should take the green flag this time around, mind you. Sorry, they both look the same with the dual pit roads here. So pace truck should pull off here. We'll have the Taylor Hurst, Anthony Burrows leading it. Pace truck's down. We'll get to the green flag, and race 5's underway for Road Pro.
See Daniel Eberhard right up there, starting P3. He's already up to P2, making an early move there on Taylor Hurst. Seems to be nice single file right now as we got a battle for fourth right here between James Wetzel and Will Cooley. And then everyone right now trying to ride single file, maybe try to get to the bottom, try to preserve their tires early.
Yeah, and Cooley
Bottom
right now is
lane
just
start.
working that inside lane hard right now on the inside of the racetrack there. Into 3 and 4. Everybody, though, right now, Terry, starting to get single file. They know the track position's key. Nobody really wants to use up their tires as much, even though you're probably going to see most of these guys only do a one-stop race.
Yeah, Wenzel jumps to that outside. He got it rolling. He puts himself down to the bottom lane at single file all the way back to even right outside the top. The first battle you see is right here with the 14 of Ron Deletto. He's trying to hold Hoffman off. It's on the outside, trying to breathe down his neck. He's got Conrad right in front of him. Then you got side by side behind that. So battle into the top 10. There's Hoffman. He makes it work. Now he's going to go after another spot to get up there. Here's another Nexus machine trying to work his way up here and get a good run. That would be... It'd be Garrett Conrad in the 12th position. I'm telling you, I wish they would run the same. They would run just numbers that goes off of what the iRacing server gave them.
Yeah, people with them custom fantasy schemes got their own custom numbers, but that won't be an issue in round 2 when we get to that point. Thankfully.
Yeah, luckily it won't. Luckily it'll be they know what number they're going to get in the server. So everybody will go to a normal number, and you won't have multiple duplicates here as you still see side-by-side battles going on around this racetrack. Just right outside this top 10 between Groff and Delaney. They're trying to fight it out. One to the outside. They're going to single file it out. Now here we go. Oh! That's Liam Sheen that tried to shove it in there. That wasn't going to work. Now Sheen loses a spot there to Collins. He's going to try to get it back, Jason.
Yeah, these guys are really battling a little bit hard right now, but still everybody continues to be single file as we ride on board the number 19 of Liam Sheen. You see side by side up in front of him, Dalton Collins and Jonathan Delaney. They're side by side as Dalton Collins gets really sideways entering turn number 1 there. Off 2, these guys are fighting for position, but finally Delaney's able to clear Collins. They work their way off turn number 4.
Talk about Dalton Collins as a whole. Very talented. There's many people that can't put him in the top. I would say top 40 of the best iRacers out there in the 25 of Dalton Collins. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Champions Power equipment because obviously I used to call that series, and I got some buddies over there that's represented by him. But he's a really good driver. I mean, if he gets into round 2, Dan, how much of an impact do you think that he could make in that, or he could make a splash in that round?
Oh yeah, for sure. Working with Over down and with the Legacy team, he made it to round 2 last year. He was very strong, but a lot of stuff didn't go his way where he just missed the Contender Series. But definitely, I think if he gets back to round 2 again this year, he's definitely going to be a force to reckon with. Raced with him a little bit in round 2 last year, and he was always up there every week. So definitely definitely someone you got to look out for, especially if he makes it back to round 2 again this year, because he's got a lot of unfinished business to take care of.
Be interested to see how many of these drivers actually work their way into it. We obviously know through the point system that they don't get as much as Split 1 does, but they still got a really good chance in Split 2, Split 3 to make their way into contender, but they have to be up front, top 10 pretty much every week, or winning a couple races out of the season to get your way advanced in there. And you got a couple in 4, 5, and 6 that could work their way in there, but some of them is a little bit of a long shot when you get down to the 5th, 6th split to get your way up here. We go all the way up here to a little bit more inside of the top 10 with Hoffman and Rondeletto trying to work together here. Jason, we're about to be 20 laps in. We are 20 laps in, and no caution yet.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that we really haven't seen a caution so far. But then again, these are the eNASCAR Road to Pro drivers. They always want to try to have the cleanest race they can. This is the race that they practice, all weekend long, all week. These last 2 weeks they've been practicing. Ever since Texas ended, probably the second Texas ended, I wouldn't be surprised if whoever signed up for whatever split for Road to Pro, they've been really working hard on their setups, and stuff like that. So these guys are hungry. They want to try to get all the track position they can. As you see, the 14 of Octavio Rondeletto looks underneath Clayton Hoffman there in the number 10 machine. So they're still side by side, but this is opening up the door for Garrett Conrath there in that number 9 machine. He's coming to the bottom side now on Clayton Hoffman as he works his way off turn number 4.
Well, we'll take you triple screen here for a second, because this is an awesome feature here for LSR TV and FTN. We got the battle going on back here. That's the battle for the 9th place position. We have a focus right now on your race leader, and then we have another battle all the way, looks like, well outside the top 10 in your upper left. This 15th position is what we're looking at there with Kwame Scott and that group on back. But see, Dan, this is the type of that Road to Pro deserves.
Absolutely. Like you said, we have some great battles all around the racetrack. Everyone seems to be taking it really nice and calm right now. It's Garrett Conrad looking for a position on Clayton Hoffman right here. But yeah, really going to start getting to see like multiple crews trying to work here, people trying to make the high line work because everyone's trying to roll the bomb, trying to manage their tires. As we get deep into a run, will people try the outside lane and try to maybe gain some more time? Because I've noticed quite a bit like how much tire wear is affected here, or how much tires do wear out here. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone's able to save their tires really well, or unless they just burn them right up the jump and they start to go backwards. Because I've been guilty of doing that myself many times. So definitely something you got to learn how to manage your tires, especially in a place like Bristol. It's one of the toughest tracks to do it at. But right now, everyone's trying to take their time. And Clayton Hoffman, well, I'm not having a good time right now as he's kind of going backwards right now.
I'll ask a crazy question real quick. When do you start to move lines? Like, when does it start to run into your head that maybe you should try to work that second groove in? When do you want to start laying the rubber down? Do you wait for the tires to start to fall off a little bit on the bottom before you go into the upper groove, or do you just attempt to make as many as you can?
Yeah, it is a good question, because the way with this current tire that we race on right now, even if you like maybe kind of overdrive the tire just a little bit, it overheats your tires and you're essentially not going to be able to have the grip for most of the run. So you got to really like plan out like when you want to do it. Like say if you're faster somebody, then maybe you can work that second lane to try to make a move on. Plus you'll have the clean air in a lane that really no one else is running to. So that could definitely be beneficial too, to have that free air. But it also can pay a price on your tires the second you try to move up a lane. So it's definitely it's that lose-lose situation of whether you want to try to push hard and try to make it work or not. Because if you try to make it work, but then you don't, then it's going to be a pain in the butt trying to get your tires back in the working window.
Jason, you see the battle up there in the top left hand of the screen, and the big screen there is the battle for the lead's about to heat up. We have battles literally all over this racetrack, and we have still kept it clean. 35 laps into this race. What's your biggest surprise so far as we're coming close into about a quarter of this race?
Well, Terry, if I had to say one, obviously the fact that we haven't had a caution yet, because obviously this is Bristol. This is usually a very troublesome track for these guys, whether it be the Pro Series, the Coke Series, or the qualifying Road to Pro Series. This tends to be a track where cautions breed cautions consistently over and over again. But as we're just passing lap 37, about to hit lap 38, I just want to take note, Daniel Eberhardt has been faster than Anthony Burrows every single lap. You got to think to yourself, and Dan, this leads to what Terry was saying earlier, and I have to ask you, if you're Daniel Eberhardt, when do you try to, make it to the top side? When do you try to go to the middle, the top, and work around Anthony Burrows? Because it's clear right now, Dan, that Daniel Eberhardt is faster than Anthony Burrows right now.
Yeah, for sure. He might try to take his time because, like you said, if this were to go run out green all the way, we still got a long time on tires to run. Probably at least another maybe 90 to 100 laps left on this fuel tank to run out this tire stint. So you don't want to maybe, if he knows he's faster, he might try to take it easy, try to still take care of his stuff and try to pass at the right time. Because like right now, he's still in a good spot. Even if he finishes where he is right now, that's still great points for him at the end of the night. Because really, what this is all about right now is trying to gain the most points he can through this first round of Road to Pro. Obviously, he wants to go and win the race, but we still got a long way to go. Because if he tries to push hard now and he ends up killing his tires, then he's going to pay the price in the long run. And if this happens to go long throughout this race, then he might be able to pounce later on, because I feel like he might know he might be faster, but he doesn't want to push the tires too early when he really doesn't necessarily need to.
We'll see what Daniel Eberhardt does here, as he still has Anthony Burrows, right, 2 weeks ago's winner at the Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to go on board with Daniel Eberhardt in the 7 machine. He put a 15.9.8 down on the board to a 15.9.9 of Anthony Burrows, who's currently leading in the Nexus Ford. Not surprised to see these two drivers up front. I mentioned that Eberhardt was going to be fast. He's been fast just about every single and every league runs or whatever race he decides to jump in official-wise, he's always one of the classes of the field. But Anthony Burrows has kind of had everybody's number here in Split 2. I say it every week that we do this. This is one of the most competitive Road to Pros we've seen in a long time, where contender could be missed by a point, and it could be a point all the way down to outside the top to the 70th position. You could have 10 drivers within single digits that miss out on round 2 or contender here this year. So Jason, you picked a fine time to come be a part of Road to Pro, Lucille.
Yeah, it's been a really fun time so far between Texas and now this. It's been a stacked field, with a lot of guys. There were a few guys entering tonight's race. Taylor Hurst, Anthony Burrows, Jonathan Delaney, Jackson Crowder, Dalton Collins, and obviously Daniel Eberhardt. Those were the guys I really circled on the list. And obviously Dan was in contention back at Texas, and then had a late run mishap towards the end of the race there. And then Anthony Burrows, with the last lap pass, was able to get by and was able to take the checkered flag. So he's out here trying to go back-to-back here in split number 2, and he's doing a really good job. He's starting to kind of pull away just a tiny bit from Daniel Eberhardt. But like Dan had said before, this race, it's going to be a little bit long. You got to pace yourself. Don't really wear out those tires. Once we get to about lap 100, that's about the only that's about the longest run you can have on fuel. So these guys are going to be pitting for tires, no doubt about it. Usually you want to pit for tires if you have more than 18 to 22 laps of wear on these things. So it's going to be interesting to see what guys' strategy are, if some people are going to try to make the undercut, the overcut, whatever it may be. And also, by the way, now these guys are catching lap traffic. So it's going to be interesting to see how Anthony Burrows and Daniel Eberhardt get around these lap traffic, because Taylor Hurst, he's only about a second and a half back. He could pounce easily if they get behind some lap traffic here later on.
The lap traffic does come into play as you go back to the triple box screen here on LSR TV and FTN. If you're watching over there, thanks for tuning in. I'm Terry Radford, Daniel Falkenkamp, driver of the number 54 Interstate Battery Toyota Camry. If I can get all that. Oh, big issues up top. Who is that almost stacked up 3 wide into the corner? That doesn't work 90% of the time. It worked that time, but it was inches away from causing a big one at Bristol, Dan.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell who that was, but thankfully that was everyone kept it straight. Too bad whoever lost a lot of position right there just got a little loose, but thankfully everyone keeps it straight. And I don't think anyone inflicted any damage from that. So everyone is still going. We're still green, 55 laps in.
Well, lap traffic right here is starting to play dividends, but it's playing dividends against Daniel Eberhard, who has lost a ton of time to Burrows. It is now almost a full second he has on P number 2 here this afternoon. Is sometimes you build the setup to run really well in traffic, and sometimes you build it really well to lead. Long run speed so far, give it to the 9. Give it to the 9. We go right here with Anthony Burrows, our race leader, in that Nexus Ford. He has set sail. It has stayed a consistent second. And Jason, you talked about Daniel in that early portion was starting to put lap times faster down. Now it's flipped the opposite direction. It's faster to the guy in first.
Yeah, and also not to mention the fact, too, look at that right there. Mr. Wooten, if we could just have the lap time right now of Anthony Burrows come up on screen once again. Look at that lap time, 14.969. That's the fastest lap of the race that he's run. And looking at the Apex Racing TV live timing and scoring, that last time around, Anthony ran a 16:23 and Eberhard ran a 16:28. So it just goes to show you how wear is on these tires already, and we're 60 laps in now. So these guys have fallen off the pace from when they had those fresh Goodyear rubber tires, about over a second and 2/10. So tires obviously going to be a key, but right now though, Anthony Burrows continuing to do a fantastic job again, trying to go back to back, going from the Lone Star State down here to Thunder Valley and trying to pick up the checkered flag here on the world's fastest half mile. He's doing a great job, but he's got a lot of lap traffic in front of him, Mr. Radford.
This might be a weird comment, and I might commentator curse this. I haven't done it so far in 5 races of Road to Pro. This is looking to be, we could potentially go caution free. I mean, we're going to come take lap 64 right here, and we've got drivers 2 wide down here in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. You've had a driver get loose. You have the leader lapping a ton of traffic. I think he's gotten all the way up to, I think, 28th or 29th. He's put down a lap. We haven't seen one yet. I don't know what split 1 looks like right now, but split 2 looks like that. You talked about it, Dan. The cream rose to the top. We're starting to see drivers come around here at a blistering pace.
Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned, Eberhard kind of falling off a little bit. Something I want to mention, too, is he was behind Burrows this entire time. Probably got stuck in Burrows' dirty air right there, which dirty air is very effective in these NASCAR Truck Series vehicles, in the NASCAR truck. So don't know if that managed to overheat his tires a little bit, or unless Burrows just has that good enough long run speed, too. And right now, like we said, this has a green flag feel to it. And something I want to bring up, too, is pit stops, too. Like, when are you going to want to pit? You want to split it right down the middle and half, maybe around like 85, 88 laps? Or you try to run long, catch caution? Because this is the exact same scenario we had in Texas 2 weeks ago, where a few people went out, ran long, like Liam Sheen, for example, was one of those drivers that managed to run long, catch a yellow, and was able to be in good position near the end of the race, but unfortunately got caught up in some melee near the end of the race. But some people might try to do that again, where they might try to go long, try to catch a yellow, or do you try to play it safe, split it down the middle, and just hope this goes green? Or do you even try to pit early and try to make up that track position, and then maybe catch a yellow at the right time? Because you may want to pit early to make up positions, but it's just going to kill your tires later on, because you're going to be on the oldest tires, you're not going to have the grip, and it's just not going to be good. You're not going to have really good speed near the end of the race, because all those spots you gain, you're going to lose them all immediately.
Well, Jason, they're running 2 seconds slower than the fast top of the race. What do you do? Put yourself in the driver's seat. Where do you put yourself? Do you pit now, or do you pit, when everybody else has came down, you trap the whole field and you just pray that one of them wrecks?
Man, it's a tight box. It really, really is. I mean, with the way that these guys are racing right now, I mean, if you come in right now, you're pretty much screwed. You're going to trap yourself. And by the way, folks, this is single-lane pit road, so these guys have to enter from the exit of 2, go all the way down the backstretch. Oh, one car really loose there. That's the Planter Chevrolet. Looks like the number 1 there of Kyle Dragon right there, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. So the good job by him to save it there off turn 4, but you got to go all the way down the backstretch, all the way around 3 and 4, down the front stretch to your box. That's if your box is on the front straightaway, but vice versa as well. And then exit coming into turn 1. So going to be interesting to see who decides to finally take that leap forward into pit road. But right now, I mean, these guys have dropped off the pace by over 2 seconds we talked about, Terry. So, I mean, if I'm one of these guys, I really don't know what I do. I mean, I just genuinely don't. I mean, this is the Road to Pro series, man. One wrong move, one wrong pit strategy call, and that could be your season right there. And it's all about consistency here in these eNASCAR qualifying Road to Pro races. So, honestly, I don't really have a comment on it right now.
Well, I know I'm not. Strategy to me isn't necessarily my strong suit. I would potentially come out and just try to split it directly in the middle if we stay green all the way through. With the way some of these drivers are racing, they're on the quarter panels, they're on the doors, they're pushing people up. You got one in the wall that just barely grazed it right there. We've seen some issues that just have not brought there, as we believe that is Max Brady. It's right here on our screen that might have caught the wall. And I mean, they're racing hard. Oh, watch out. Saved it. Sylvia catches the wall. Brady right there on your screen. And in the wall again is the Splash and Go RKM machine. That Toyota is over the place. And he slid. Dan, that doesn't make tires too happy.
Yeah, Jake Silva, he's struggling real bad here, guys. Like, he's trying to rip the wall, trying to rip the outside and make up some time. But, like, look how congested this spot is right here. He's kind of stacking up this whole field right here. You saw Max Brady around to get him. He was able to get around him very easily. But, like, look, he looks really tight in the corner. He's not able to really, like, hold it. Like, really, like, hold the middle, hold the bottom. Look at this. He's about to get lapped here. And, like, something I want to mention, too, like, there's a lot of guys that started outside the top 30. They've gained a lot of spots, made it back into, like, the top 20. They have some pretty good speed. But the problem is, they've lost so much time. They're about to get lapped here soon. So that's something we got to watch out for. If this thing stays green, we're going to have some guys going a lap down here, like Jake Sylvia and a lot of these others. And here comes, we got to battle for the race lead here on lap traffic.
It gets tied up in all the lap trafficness, but I was wondering what the leader was doing on the outside. He got punted from the front and the back here as Daniel Eberhardt's going to take this race lead. I wondered why he was staying behind Sylvia on the outside, but it was because he had the 7 of Daniel Eberhardt to his bottom, to the inside. So change that lead here as he's going to try to put a car one lap down. That's going to be Matthew Swack. I think he's going to try to put one lap down, and he'll get that there. The next on that list is Max Brady. As the battle for the lead, there it goes. He's going to jump to the outside. We'll see. Can Anthony Burrows take this lead again, or is Daniel Eberhardt going to try to keep it? And side by side, here we go.
Yeah, he's trying to take it back. Burrows seeing, like, he had trouble in traffic, but Burrows going to try to roll this bottom on Daniel Eberhardt. Now he's going to use Max Brady as a pit, like what Daniel Eberhardt did to Burrows when he had Matthew Swack in front of him and Jake Sylvia. So kind of playing, here, I want the lead, now you can have the lead, and now we're going to go 3 wide into turn 1 with the lap truck. You see Anthony Burrows is retaking the lead here. Like Burrows, that truck definitely seems to be hooked up right here on the long run. He lost the lead, even though kind of Eberhardt got trapped behind a lap truck right there. He was able to take the lead right back, and Burrows seems to be trying to pull a gap now back in clean air. So we'll see what he can do here in these next maybe 10, 15 laps, because, guys, we've hit the halfway point. We have not had a yellow flag yet. So we're really starting to see, like, who's saved their tires best, who's got the long run speed. And now it's all going to come down to when do you pit? Because this is going to be a good time to pit, maybe, if you want to split this right in half. As Connor Yoshak, he's up here in the wall in turn 2. He's going to lose a couple of spots. They're slicing and dicing here. That's Dalton Collins and others. This is River Hayes, I believe we're looking at right here in the number 6. Or that might be Jonathan Delaney. Everyone's numbers all mixed up. I'm starting to lose focus with everybody. But this is Jonathan Delaney, because I see River Hayes in another car with the number 6. Sorry, just trying to keep up with everybody right here. But right now, lap 89, past halfway point. We're ready to see maybe if we see some pit strategy here. And never mind, right as I say that, the caution flag comes out.
Well, that was right on time, because I was just about to say that the halfway point is brought to you by iRacing. And if you wanted to join iRacing, you can go to iRacing.com and use that as your portal to the sim world. It's over halfway, caution flag number 1. I know I never thought I would say that as we take a look at the LSR TV replay here. We'll see what had happened to bring this. Just got loose on his own. 90 degrees and comes to a stop, gets it straight. Caution flag waves, no carnage, no tear up. But I guess, now I'll throw the carrot out there for just a little bit. As if you want to keep with the latest news, by the way, Dan and Jason, you can scan that QR code, and then you can sign up today. So you can keep up with all the news for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRace Series. You can find out where Daniel Falkenkamp finished at Monza at a very wild and crazy time on Tuesday night, or you can find out, where he finishes at Talladega, or you could watch it on eNASCAR.live, but scan it there, keep up with your news, or sign up for iRacing with 40% off new memberships all the time. Come race Gen 4 with me. That's always the fun. But I'll throw the carrot out there for everybody. Dan, Jason. Dan, I'll start with you. Jason, fill in right after him. Does all hell break loose now?
Well, that's going to decide what these guys want to do. They're the ones driving the trucks. I'm up here sitting in the booth. So it's all going to see what these guys want to do. Like, we're now it's going to be under 80 laps to go when we retake the green here. So it's going to be, like I said, like I've mentioned this every week, when we get down to the end, business is going to pick up, and it's going to pick up real good here in Bristol, Tennessee here. So we're going to see everyone going to take 4 tires, fill it up with fuel. Probably the last time, maybe the only time we'll see these guys on pit road, unless we get some yellows later on in the race. Like, we could see some two-tire strategies later on down if we get to that point in the race. But now it's going to decide, like, if we're going to have a lot of calamity. And, yeah, we're going to have about 80 laps to go here. And a lot of variant pit strategies here.
Yeah, it very well could be like that. I mean, we're up here in the booth. We're not out there on the racetrack, obviously. But, I mean, at the end of the day, too, you got to look at it. This is Bristol. This is the world's fastest half mile. You're trying to process a million different things at once, going over 150, 160 miles an hour practically, whatever the speed may be. Everything comes at you really, really quick. And that's not just, being a virtual or a real race car driver. When they mean that here at Bristol, they mean that. A driver back in the day once said it was like flying a fighter jet inside of a gymnasium, and that is true, regardless of what you race. It could be a legend car, it could be a modified, it could be whatever the heck it may be. But, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys, they got to get up on the wheel and show who's boss, and if you're Anthony Burroughs and Daniel Eberhardt, you want to try to duke this out. And now this also, with the way that the pit strategy played into effect right there, and who had the better pit stop and whatnot. James Wenzel now in the 24 machine, he's currently going to find himself right up on the outside row here, so he's going to have a shot finally to try to take the lead away from Anthony Burroughs. But also Daniel Eberhardt, Terry, he's going to have that inside lane, so Anthony Burroughs is going to have a good restart here. But I don't know, we could see all heck break loose, but we also could see a tame race. But we're also more than halfway, so you never know.
You really do. Santiago Tires, who started dead last, has worked his way up into the top 15, sitting 13th on the field. That's our biggest mover, plus 20. I will tell you, there's not a bad seat in the house. I was at Bristol 2 seasons ago when Elliott and them fought. Green flags back in the air. You don't miss a beat here. It's just, it's rhythm. We're side by side out there outside the top 5th, actually. It was outside the top 5. Now it is for the 5th place position as we single filed out here. We're going to try to work the high to the bottom. Dan, maybe they'll keep it tame for us.
We'll say that. We'll probably get yelled in the next 5 seconds. But as we went to this restart here, we got 24 trucks here on the lead lap to start on this restart. So a lot of people got dropped lap down there, and I don't know if some people took the way rounds. We weren't able to tell. But now a lot of people have got their fresh tires, and now it's a do-over. Did people make adjustments to try to adjust for that long run or try to get more speed out of it? Well, I wonder what these guys did on this pit stop here. But everyone, 4 tires, full tank of fuel, and now that's probably going to be a sprint to the finish here unless we keep wrecking it up some more.
Well, nobody took the wave around there. Everybody came down pit lane. Our Matthew Swack was our free pass. He was our lucky dog back there in 24th in the 8 machine. Hoffman has fell through the field. Groff has fallen through the field. They're 2 of our biggest losers here so far in this race. We're going to try to take a 3 wide, Jason. Man, there's action everywhere with 75 laps to go. We might be done by 10.
Yeah, we very well might. I mean, these guys are flying right now, putting down 15 threes, 15 twos, and whatnot. But again, that pace, since obviously we went halfway and these guys had that opportunity to get 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles and some fuel brought to you from Sunoco into these virtual NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series trucks. I mean, now that you look at it, you got what you got, man. I mean, if the caution doesn't come out again as we go triple box here, you're seeing all the various battles all over the place. These guys had that one opportunity in the pits to try to make those really big swing of adjustments at these virtual race trucks here. So, I mean, if you're Anthony Burroughs right now, you just want to see this race go green all the way. Hopefully no lap traffic gets in your way, and that enabled Daniel Eberhardt earlier to get by him, but then Anthony was able to get back by him. So, I mean, we'll see. We could see a very tame race, but we also could see tire wear play a big factor and whatnot. But, I mean, so far, this has been a great race so far. Side-by-side action all over the place, and everybody's really kept it clean besides the one spin earlier from the 6 truck.
Just a lazy spin brings out 1 caution flag so far. I'll finish our normal thing that we do. We're all over this. I'm Terry Radford, the voice of the Carolina Pro Late Model and crate modified and one of the eNASCAR College Series people. The driver of the 54 JGR Interstate Battery Toyota Camry, Daniel Falkenkamp. I'm telling you, that just gets longer and longer every time I say it. Jason Rockefeller, one of our color analysts here at LSR TV for the Northwest Click It RV Fix Series and the Click It RV Truck Series. Ha! Say that 1,000 times. I bet you can't. This is the eNASCAR Qualifying iRacing Series on LSR TV and FTN. This is Bristol. If you've never seen a race here at Bristol, well, you're seeing some of the best do it. We're 2 wide, triple box. You see side-by-side racing. Oh, you got to drop it loose.
Hello.
Save it. He saved it.
No, they didn't.
Oh, that's a big one.
Big one.
It's a massive wreck. He had it saved for a split second, then he decided, nah, I'm good.
I told you it was going to be up to these guys. They wanted to try to keep it straight or try to be good the rest of the race. Well, guess what? I guess I was wrong. Because now we got a bunch of, we got a wrecked bucket of certain words I cannot say on the broadcast right now. But we got we'll have to take a look at the replay here in just a minute. But yeah, I think it all started with that 14 truck. I believe Ron Deletto, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'll take a look at the replay here because we saw a lot of people spinning right there. And yeah, just a whole bunch of chaos here with 65 remaining.
Chat can fill in the blank of what Daniel Falkenkamp was about to say. We got a big bucket of blank that just happened out here on the racetrack. We'll catch the replay here in just a second. Jason, I'll get you to walk us through it. There's a lot that's going to have to be unpacked here. Some of these drivers going to fix damage. Era really doesn't affect a whole lot here, but everybody's going to come pit. Well, we got one person that's got a little bit to stay out here. Santiago Tires is going to stay out in the 15 machine. He's going to go up about 33 positions. Jason, here's the replay.
Yeah, that's just a lot. That's just guys trying to check up. You saw the 14 right there getting involved. I mean, what else can you say? Everything's happening so fast at once. You know, you can't really go 3 wide here. Everybody's trying to check up, and everybody's doing different things and not paying attention to what's around them fully. So, unfortunate circumstances for some guys right there. But, hey, man, that's Bristol. And Bristol, just like Dover and other tracks, this is a self-cleaning racetrack. Everybody goes from wrecking on the racetrack and then follows it down all the way to the inside of the racetrack down below the apron. So, a lot of guys taken out, probably some heavy hitters. So, interesting to see how the rest of this race is going to play out. So if I had to say so, I think now we might be in for a, not necessarily a treat, but definitely going to be a race that's going to be a little bit more chaotic, and you're going to start to see a lot of drivers be more and more aggressive right now to try to pick up every spot.
Well, I thought that the 15 of Tires and the 31 of Kuntz was going to stay out, but they decided to come down and pit on the second wave around. You see our caution information brought to you by the Virginia811.com. Call before you dig, and you make sure you dig with care. 2 cautions, 9 caution laps, 2 lead changes here so far. That was the 9 of Anthony Burrows and the 7 of Daniel Eberhardt, are the only 2 leaders we have seen so far here tonight. Burrows still holds the lead. Wenzel, Eberhardt, Cooley, Hurst, your top 5, your top 10. Crowder, Delaney, Dalton Collins, Kwame Scott's done a good job. Plus 8 here. Gareth Conrath, he jumps up to the top 10 for one of the first times here this afternoon with Liam Sheen sitting where he started in 11th. A lot of comers and goers has been inside this top 10, but the top 3 hasn't changed a bit. Wenzel's been 3rd most of the race. He jumped up to 2nd. It's just reversed. And Dan, I didn't mean to jinx us here on that caution, so I'll take that one this time.
Yeah, you're our play-by-play analyst, so I feel like you got to take fault for all the commentators' curse.
Well,
I'm just the driver analyst. I'm just here to, analyze. As we're getting ready to go back to the restart here, Burrows leads back to the green.
Well, since I've taken fault for all the wrecks, I'll take the lazy spin too. It's on me for the wrecks. You see a side-by-side battle here for P2 as Daniel Eberhardt. He's going to try to look under Wenzel in the number 24. He's going to swing wide. The Logitech G Altus machine. He's there. He's still there. And you see the 00. That would be the 20 on your screen of Will Cooley. He's going to try to put himself in a position to go outside, inside. He's swapped a couple lanes here. 2 laps on the restart. And Jason, it's looking like we're going to have a 3-way fight for second, but not a whole lot for the lead.
Yeah, well, I mean, the longer these guys stay side by side is Wenzel finally is able to clear Eberhardt, but Eberhardt is under fire right now from Will Cooley. They make a little bit of contact there off turn number 4, but the more these guys race side by side, and obviously now James Wenzel is clear of those 2 trucks behind him, and this also enables Jackson Crowder to come up into the picture, and also Dalton Collins, 5th and 6th there. So Anthony Burrows loving what he's seeing. The more these guys race side by side, the more that number 9 machine can boot, scoot, and boogie away from the rest of the field here. He's got about half a second, almost about 4/10. It's bouncing in between 4/10 of a second and half a second right now. Right now, Anthony Burrows loving what he's seeing in the rearview mirror.
Whatever James Wenzel has done to his car, Dan, or his truck, mind you, sorry, he's put some speed under that thing. He has the 2nd fastest lap of the whole race, and he's the 2nd fastest driver on the racetrack behind, obviously, our leader, Anthony Burrows, who you talked about Nexus being on a rail. Well, he's definitely proven that Thunder Valley has nothing on him. He's pulling away to the tune of 0.6 of a second. But what kind of adjustments do you make here in this truck, especially under a caution? You get a long run, and then you start to think maybe you're going to have some short runs go along. What would you do to it?
And it just depends on, as the yellow comes out here, it just depends on how your truck is feeling. Like, you put some wedge in there, maybe do some tire pressures. Just if you want to either tighten, if you're really loose on a run, you can try to tighten it up, and obviously vice versa. Like what was all with Jake Sylvia, who was struggling there early on there, who looked to be really tight, maybe try to loosen that thing up a little bit. Or maybe it just comes down to yourself too. Like maybe it all comes down to the driver having to adjust how he drives. Like try to maybe drive the truck a little bit more conservative, more slow to keep the tires on it, as we have a caution here on the racetrack.
So with the caution came out for like a spin up ahead of this issue. We'll see who brought the caution out. Lazy spin again brings us back here. Just a lazy spin brings out caution number 3. Weird to think that we have 50 to go and we've only had 3 caution flags. Nobody's pitting here, right, Jason? We just came in on lap 112.
Yeah, no, definitely not. You really don't want to pit unless you got about 18 to 22 laps, like I stated earlier, on those tires. So, I mean, what you got right now is what you got. Track positions is way too valuable to give up any sort of, anything that you've gained in this race. Don't throw it away by trying to think to yourself, oh, I can make a pit stop and somehow miraculously make my way up through the field. I mean, some guys are going to pit, from the back of the field to get those fresh Goodyear Eagles on that truck. But I mean, if you're up at the front right now, like Dalton Collins, Delaney, Hurst, Kwame, or Liam Sheen, or any of those guys up in the top 3 to 5, you definitely don't want to pit. I mean, that's just my guess right now, and it looks like they will continue to stay out. So nobody's pitting, which is the right call, because like I said, you pit right now, it is so hard to make passes here. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way and be able to possibly get involved in a wreck here. So right move by these guys all up inside the top 10 to not come to pit road that last time around.
I've had a lot of big movers so far in this race. You guys in the 16 in the 12th position, up 18 spots. Royce in the 5, up 19. Swack up to the 13th position, plus 15. Batby up 12 in 17th. That's just to name a few. Dalton Collins is up 10, all the way up there in the 6th position. That's our double-digit movers here this afternoon. Cautions breed cautions. We should be coming to the one to go signal on the pace car when we come around here. Anybody do any cool racing this week other than I know, Dan, you were at Monza. How was that?
Yeah, we didn't qualify great, but it turned out to be a blessing because I don't know if you saw that turn 1, lap 1 calamity we all had. I was able to barely avoid that, and I ended up being the biggest mover of the race. I gained the most spots, went from 33rd to 23rd. It definitely could have been a little bit better, but I was definitely satisfied for where we qualified. Gets there, and it was very hard to pass. But guess what? That ain't it. Because guess what? We're going straight back into racing this Tuesday at Talladega, and for the first time ever, it's a fixed setup race where everyone's on the same stuff. So. Going to probably be one of our most competitive races we'll ever have. So I am very much looking forward to that on Tuesday. And we're really deep in the points, so our goal is to go out and win that thing. Go out and win that sucker on Tuesday.
I'm not saying that I'm personally invested, but I enjoy my Tuesdays when I'm working behind the scenes, like behind the scenes for the Coke Series, because y'all always make me laugh. So hopefully I'm talking to you during the show at some point in time. Green flag back in the air, 129 on the board. You got to stack up right here for second, as nobody can have anything for Burrows, as here comes Cooley to the bottom. He's going to look for second on Wenzel. We'll see as it's side by side for second and fourth as they come down the front straightaway.
Yeah, side by side, 2 by 2 throughout this field. Wenzel back to second. Will Cooley trying to get to third. Daniel Eberhardt struggled on these last few restarts, trying to get back third away from Will Cooley. And you see Dalton Collins, we were talking about him earlier. He's cracked the top 5 here ahead of Jackman Crowder.
See a bunch of movers in this race with Dalton Collins jumping up to that 5th place position. Still 2 by 2 with Eberhardt and Cooley. Trying to figure out who wants to be in the 3rd place position and how bad, but they have a 25 machine that's breathing down their neck that wants that position, who's come from deep in the field to get it. Jason, as the loud desperation starts to sink in on a lot of these drivers, as Cooley's going to slip back to 5th.
Yeah, I mean, right now, though, my eyes on Dalton Collins. He was a driver I talked about who I had my a name on my list here coming into tonight's race at Bristol. I had his name circled for sure coming in here. He's plus 12 from where he started. He currently finds himself P4 in the number 25 machine. So he's slowly closing in on Daniel Eberhardt. I think if he could just get the track position, maybe pass Eberhardt here for 3rd, and somehow, some way get a caution, I think that Dalton Collins might have something for Anthony Burrows. But I mean, we all know it. Me, you, and Dan, we all know, though, that Anthony Burrows has been lights out on these few restarts that we've had tonight. Nobody's really been able to contend with him unless it was a super long green flag run, in which we could have one to the finish. But even with that, it's not going to be long enough like we saw those first 90 laps earlier in the race.
That is true, as we continue to see the battles going on through the field. Go back here to find the 18 machine. That's Jonathan Delaney that's fighting here, trying to hold on to this spot. You got the 2 of Kwame Scott in there as well, trying to work his way through the field, a little loose off the corner. If you're wanting to know what's going on over in split 1, they have 51 laps to go, so we should finish before them potentially. So don't leave. You can go catch their race on FTF right after our coverage is over. We're winding down here to about to be 35 laps to go. we've had really good racing. They've had multiple cautions over there, obviously, to put them behind what Split 2's doing. So kudos to the Split 2 drivers. It's a hornet's nest here. Dan, you're going to see this a day on Tuesday.
Yeah, sure. Only problem is we're probably going to be racing 3 wide, 4 wide, passing below the apron. We're gonna be all crazy on Tuesday, but right now we're enjoying the show here tonight in Bristol, Tennessee. As you see Liam Sheen here. Guys, you notice he's got a little bit of nose damage, got collected in that pretty big wreck we had on the front straightaway several laps ago, and he's trying to make up for all the damage he received on that truck, and right now he's trying to get back up, trying to see what position he's running in here, but trying to get back all that lost ground, and looks like he's running pretty good for all the damage he has.
You see 3 wide trying to creep in back there a little further on back behind us. The 14 machine, that's Octavio Rondoletto. They got pushed 3 wide just a little bit. Now, I mean, you see a lot of this slipping and sliding off the extra picture, Jason. Does this make you want to jump into a Bristol truck race?
Yeah, definitely not with these guys, because I haven't ran a lick of open stuff before, really. I'm not really an open guy, but I'm starting to get there. Just finally got my wheel really back up and running again. Had a bracket not really working, finally got it replaced. So trying to race a little bit more, but obviously my schedule's a little bit busier. But right now, yeah, I would not want to be out here with these guys, because they're racing like they're Herbie and Herbie fully loaded going against the fence after Trick Murphy tried to put them in the wall there at California. But you're seeing a lot of these guys right now slipping and sliding. They got some laps on their tires now, but nobody can really go anywhere right now. I mean, look at this. This is like practically a restart right now, coming off turn number 4. As you see the 92 there tuck in line behind the 78 machine, but all these guys super loose. It just makes me think, though, Terry, that we might see a late race yellow by the way these guys are slipping and sliding here off 2 and 4.
Well, talking about Split 1 for just a moment, Ray Alfala, 4-time leads over there with 45 laps to go. Humphrey, Pfeffer, DeMerchant, Daniel Buttafuoco, your top 5 there on twitch.tv/FTF is where you can find Split number 1. Just wide coming down here. The last time that happened, we watched Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth. They decided to wreck each other, but it's 3 wide, 2 wide, all the way back to outside this. I believe this would be for the about 15th back. So, goodness.
Yeah, that was a great move. I think I'm trying to point out what that was. That was a great move, running around the top 3 wide, barely made it work, trying to squeeze in the hole right there. And right now, Liam Sheen, he's just struggling with all that nose damage he has right now. Just trying to rip the top, just trying to hang on. Oh, he's getting really high, almost up into the wall, losing even more ground. He's got 25 laps to hang on to all he can get right here. Yeah, but he is definitely struggling with all the damage.
Yeah, aerodynamics doesn't play a big factor, but in these trucks, if you damage the right side too much, you knock a bunch of power out of it. It's hard to get the throttle off exit of the corner. And Jason, we're coming down to 20 laps to go. Do we see a late race caution? I'll take the blame, even if you don't jinx it. Do we see one? Do we see some strategy potentially come into play? Because I mean, we've been on these tires for a while now. We've seen almost a second fall off. Any takers if we do get it?
Takers, I'll answer in a second, but yes, I do believe we will get a late race yellow, because we are starting to catch lap traffic and stuff like that. Everybody is just flying right now. Anthony Burrows, though, somewhat of a zip code of his own, only has about a little over half a second over James McZell right now. Still keeping my eye, though, on Dalton Collins if we do get a late race yellow. He's been so fast. He's been pretty much faster than Anthony Burrows here the last time around, practically. I mean, he's been doing a good job. Everybody's starting to equalize out a little bit, so he's not nearly as fast as what he once was. But, I mean, if we do get a late race yellow, I think you might see some strategy maybe from some of those guys towards the tail end of the top 10. But only time's going to tell. But that's the thing. You know, you come into pit road, you risk yourself not only maybe not being able to get back to the spot you once were and possibly even succeed even further, but you also, you know, risk yourself for wrecking. You know, I mean, you're going to be on fresh tires compared to guys who are going to be 2 seconds off the pace practically, you know, with only a handful of laps to go. And that's just going to create mayhem here, especially at a half mile like Bristol, for all places, for gosh sakes. So, I mean, I don't really know right now, Terry. I mean, if they do get a late race yellow, if pitting is the right call, but I mean, you're going to be struggling on grip if some guys come into pit road and if you don't.
Coming down to 16 laps to go. Burrows still holds this lead, but it's starting to shrink a little bit. It's half a second. It has been sitting around 6 to 7 tenths. It's now a half a second separates them, and then you got a half a second all the way back from Wetzel to Daniel Eberhardt as he sits in the third place position. See a change right here. Will Cooley caught up to the back bumper of Dalton Collins. Well, lap traffic is starting to play a big factor in this race. We have effectively went green we went green since the last caution about 50 subs ago. So now, has this affected this? The battle for the lead is starting to heat up. It's 0.4 of a second. He's gained a tenth. At that time, it was a 5/100ths is what he gained on that time by. It's shrunk down to almost 3.
Yeah, Wetzel not going to let Burrows get away with this one very easily. He's going to do everything he can, but as long as Burrows doesn't put a foot wrong, I think Burrows will not be losing this lead here. But like we said, he lost the lead in lap traffic. I don't know if we'll necessarily be able to be catching lap traffic with only 12 laps to go, or if we get a caution here in a little bit. But Wetzel, he's giving Burrows one last push, one last challenge to see if maybe he can go steal this race win away. Burrows been the dominant truck all night long, but he's got one final challenge here in James Wetzel, as we're coming to 10 laps to go.
Going to have an opportunity when they see the 2 5s come in the air from Barney, the flagman here. 10 laps to go. It's going to be a battle between the 9 and the 24. Wetzel versus Burrows. We'll see as it's now down to 0.3 of a second. It's funny because Burrows is faster on the stopwatch. That time by was the second time in the past 15 laps that Wetzel has beat Burrows on speed. That's mind-blowing to think that he's him, but he's a little bit slower on the stopwatch.
Yeah, well, as you see, we can see just visually just out the broadcast booth right here. He is visually closing in, but it's going to be so hard. Like, the only thing I can say is he's going to try to rip that outside, but look at Burrows. And the caution comes out with 8 laps to go. So that battle for the lead is going to mean nothing. And we are going to have a few laps remaining, and this has just gotten interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody can beat Burrows on the short run, Jason. I just don't see it. It takes a long run for him to start to even remotely get close to the field.
This is just such a hard decision right now. I mean, realistically, pit road's either going to be open, not this time around probably, but next time around. But we're going to take a look here at the LSR TV race replay, see what happened there. You see the 6 truck inside of the number 99 machine. Everybody in a huge pack of trucks here. This is going to be heading, I think, into turn 1 is when this really all starts. And then you see the 10 to the outside. Gets into the back of the 6 right there. Oh, it just sends him around. Hard contact to the inside, safer barrier. It just comes to rest right down the start-finish line.
Oh, this is interesting as we have a very mixed bag. Oh, wow. Burrows, Wetzel,
that's
Cooley,
a lot of guys.
Scott, Champagne, Hurst, Kuntz, Peel, Swack is in, but there's a lot that stayed out. Eberhardt, Collins, Crowder, Delaney, Will Brady, Sylvia. It was a 50-50 split on who was going to stay out and who was going in. Dan, what in the world?
I'm surprised these guys. I know these guys have a lot of laps on their tires, but you're only going to have like maybe 2 laps to go at the restart, and there's really not going to be a lot of room to pass here. And plus, with the 3, you can account for the 3 GWCs as well. These guys might think tires might work, but as you said, we got quite a few guys that stayed out on this yellow. And there's only going to be 2 laps to go. We might have a GW. Yeah, we might have a GWC here. So I don't know why you would pit with under 10 laps to go. But like I said, I'm not on the crew chief. I'm not on the box. I'm not being a crew chief. I'm not the driver. Like, these guys might think this worked, but I don't know why you would throw away all these points and all these track position with just a few laps remaining when we're going to have a GWC here. And I think Daniel Eberhardt, who stayed out here, might have just made the winning gamble.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing, though. You got to remember too. I think with Anthony Burrows and also the driver behind him, I think they thought that they were going to have everybody behind him coming to the pits, Terry, and that's why they stopped. And then the leaders, they were going to psych them out. Or not the leaders, but the guys behind them were going to psych them out. And they saw them. They were like, no way, they're pitting actually. Let's all stay out. And then 16 drivers came out. Oh, my gosh. I can't.
Well, Anthony Burrows, who has led every lap but 3 here so far in this race, he's 15th. He has not been outside the top 2 this entire race. So he's definitely going to be in some trouble, as we are going to get an authentic green-white-checkered finish here for Split 2, Race 5 here at Bristol. We'll reset it. Daniel Eberhardt, Dalton Collins, Jonathan Delaney, Jackson Crowder, Zeke Willis, and Max Brady, Jake Sylvia, Octavio Rondoletto, Matthew Batby, and River Hayes is your top 10. We'll see where this shakes out. Your drivers who pitted was 15th on back. Came down to take 4 tires and fuel, green flags back in the air. We're racing. 2 laps to go, and there goes Daniel Eberhardt. He's trying to set sail, but it's not working.
Look at Jackson Crowder down on the bottom as yellow's going to come back out again. We are going to NASCAR overtime as they are wrecking in the back. Jackson Crowder, I think, managed to get second from Dalton Collins right there, so he's giving himself a shot here at the end of this thing. But I think we have had a lot of green flag racing, but now it's going to start to get messy here, guys. As we take a look here at the LSR TV replay, keep an eye on Santiago Gutierrez. I think that's River Hayes getting in the wall. There's more contact up front, and that is a huge one on the back straightaway. Lots of people getting involved on this one. And a little bit of arc braking. I saw Eric Royce got a piece of that too. Liam Sheen got a piece of that. That's green-white checkers at the end of these races. People trying to get everything they can get, and not to mention a lot of these guys are on old tires as well. Maybe a little bit of wheel spin, just not getting going on heat cycles. It's become a complete mess. It's all unraveling here at Bristol.
And for people that normally see this time slide, it's for the Northwest Dirt Series. That is immediately following this race upon the conclusion, if I'm right from the producer in my ear, that upon conclusion we will go to that race with Wesley Outland and Alex Robinson. They'll have the coverage of that. But this is the eNASCAR qualifying Road to Pro iRacing series. I'm Terry Radford. Daniel Falkenham and Jason Rockefeller is up here on this coverage with Charles Wooten, our producer for FTN and LSR TV Productions. Green-white-checkered attempt number 2. The first one was authentic. Now we're into overtime itself. Anthony Burrows only got up to 13th there. The driver who came in lead has led all but 3 laps of this. Now make it 5 because now Eberhardt's winning it. But under the green flag conditions, he has been the man. He's in 13th on 4 fresh tires. How many more green-white-checkered attempts does he need, Dan, to get up here to potentially make a run for this?
He's going to need all of them, just plain and simple. He needs to gain as many spots as he can on the restarts, and then maybe he needs to wait until the absolute last minute. Like, if these guys, right before they get to start-finish line, they need a yellow, immediately, because that's the most amount of time you can to gain possession before they take the white flag, and the race is official. It goes green in the end. So he needs to pick off a lot of these guys on every restart, and then that might give him half a chance, because don't get me wrong, having 4 fresh tires is great compared to all the guys in front of him, but the problem is you don't really have a lot of room to work with because of how narrow the racing surface is. It's already hard enough to try to go 3 wide here, but with how everyone's all over the place on old tires and stuff, it's just gonna be really hard to try to not get yourself in a wreck. Pretty much what Denton needs to do here with his tires, get as many spots you can, get the points, and then we'll see you in 2 weeks at Dover.
Well, this is going to be really interesting to see who's going to be able to come out on top. And, I mean, like Dan just said, Anthony, let's all face it, if this doesn't have 3 attempts at a green-white-checkered, and Anthony Burrows isn't probably in the top 6, I'd say, by the time they take that 3rd attempt, Anthony Burrows probably just gave this race away just by pitting right there. So it's going to be interesting to see Nevertheless, Terry, if that number 9 machine will be able to try to make his way up, but he's going to need all 3 attempts, just like Dan had said.
We're going to get ready to go here. The pace car sedan is going to pull down for potentially the final time here this afternoon. And I say potentially. It's Daniel Eberhardt. He's on the loud pedal. It's going to be him, Crowder, Collins. Your top 3 has a chance to this win. We have 2 laps to go. We'll come around for the white flag side by side for second. That's exactly what Eberhardt wants to see. Now we single file it out. We'll put Jackson Crowder there in P2. White flag in the air. Caution before they took the white flag. Caution. Flag is out.
Didn't make it. They had a huge wreck off of turn 4. And someone got sent into the wall. Someone got spun around. And I think we just had another big wreck off turn 4 there. Someone just slow on the top, they got a little bit of a bump and set off another wreck. And we're going to see on the LSR TV replay here once more. We're looking at, I think this is Connor Euroshag as they're going through turns 3 and 4 right here. I think it's going to happen ahead of these guys. Yeah, it's already happened. Look, that's Octavio Roldonado going in the air right there. Then unfortunately, that was Euroshag probably getting the worst end of it there at the back half of the field, kind of getting run over right there. But as we take a look here at the replay once more, Octavio, I think he got hit up the rear here. We're going to take a look here. They're going through turn 1, 2. But watch Anthony Burrows. Look at these moves he's making on these 4 fresh tires. To the bottom, 3 wide. Look at all the grip he has through the corner. Then as you see Octavio come out, ooh, just gets a little hit right there. And he's a really hard hit in the outside wall. And unfortunately, these guys might have taken the white flag. But according to iRacing time and scoring, you may take the white flag. But unfortunately, the yellow just came out at the worst possible timing. But for Anthony Burrows, this is perfect.
Well, I think we've missed a big story because look who's sitting in 5th. Pitted on lap 125. That's 13 lap fresher tires than the rest of the people in front of him. That's Max Brady. He's 3 spots ahead currently of Anthony Burrows that's sitting in the 8th place position. We could have potentially just counted the 12 out. Max Brady has a chance to win this race. He's going to start 5th, the 3rd car on the bottom. So we might have missed something here. That Max might have a good opportunity because, you know, Burrows has to get past Sylvia and Willis. Well, we might see Kenny Brady's brother go up here, and I know he's probably gonna kill me for saying that, but Kenny's in split 1. Max is split 2, Jason.
Yeah, well, hey, we talked to him last time around. He finished on the podium, and I had the honor of interviewing Max, and he was ecstatic pretty much. Very calm, cool, and collective over in the broadcast, you know, but that's a big step in the right direction for him, you know, in that number 12 machine. You know, beautiful, you know, the gold, black, and white colors. That's number 77 Sim Stamp car right there. He's going to have a shot here, but you got to remember, too, and like Dan had said, look at Anthony Burrows on them 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, you know, making those moves. Anthony's going to restart on the bottom, so he could have a clear path on the outside lane to gas it up as hard as he can and stay in the throttle just a little bit with laying off a tad. So Anthony Burrows, he might not be done yet, but I mean, it's going to be awful close if he does get a chance to try to run down Daniel Eberhardt. But I mean, Max Brady could be the sleeper pick here for this finish, and hopefully these guys can keep it green. But if not, we do have one more attempt at NASCAR Overtime if we do in fact need it, and that's probably what Anthony Burrows is going to need if he wants to get up there and reclaim what was rightfully his earlier on in that race, which would be the lead.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what the 12 of Max Brady can do. As we're about to take the green flag, Daniel Eberhardt is going to attempt to hold this off again. We'll see what this time do. Daniel gets a really good start. 2 laps to go. Dalton gives the bottom to Max Brady. That's crazy. Puts him up to P3. Now we're fighting here. Here comes Anthony Burrows shooting it 3 wide. Back there behind. He's going to make it stick. He's on the back bumper. White flags in the air. 1 lap to go at Bristol. Where does Burrows put himself? He'll get under Brady. He's going to clear. Here he comes to Collins. It's not going to matter because not pitting was the key. Off of 3 and 4, Daniel Hart gets the win Crowder, Collins, top 3. Burrows rebounds to 4th. Was the highest he could get, but what a drive for Daniel Eberhard.
Yeah, props to Eberhard there. He was fast all night long. Got up there, led a few laps. But at the end of the day, made the right call when it mattered, and he's in victory lane. But props to Anthony Burrows. He restarted all the way back, I think it was like 13th, 15th, somewhere around there, and was able to get back to the top 4. But even though it wasn't the victory when he probably had the dominant truck, still great points for tonight's race. And there's his teammate, Jackson Crowder, Daniel Eberhard, falls out of the Ryko stable, celebrating their podium finishes. Well-deserved podium finishes there. Crowder fought up through the field just like Eberhard there, and great finishes all around, and definitely a great race here tonight at Bristol.
Well, I think the story we talked about, Nexus bringing a lot of heat. The story out of the Ryko camp is Ryko trumps Nexus at Bristol. 1-2, Daniel Eberhard takes your win. Jackson Crowder, P2, Dalton Collins in P3, Anthony Burrows 4, Jonathan Delaney, Will Cooley, Max Brady slides back to 7th, Matthew Swack with a good run, plus 20 positions. Kevin Champagne up 12. Sylvia rounding out your top 10. He was plus 12 as well. As you take a look at the second page there, Dan.
Yeah, Zeke Willis comes home P11. Matthew Batby comes home P12. Jordan Kuntz at 13th. Justin Patel on 14th. River Hayes in 15th. Lost Peel in 16th. James Wetzel 17th. Clayton Hoffman in 18th. Kwame Scott in 19th. And John Jenkins rounds up our top 20, Jason.
Yeah, and then to round out the rest of the field all the way back to 33rd, Nathan Nicholson there, 21st. Taylor Hurst, 22nd. Kyle Dragon, 23rd. Connor Euroshak there, 24th. Caden Rush, tough race for him tonight. Expected a lot out of him. He's always very fast. 25th tonight. Matthew Morton, 26th. Liam Sheen comes home 27th. Santiago Tires, 28. He had a rough night, along with Octavio Rondoletto there in 29th. Tyler Groff there in the 30th position. And then to round out the rest of the field, you have Eric Royce, 31st. Garrett Conrath in 32nd. And Thomas Lewandowski there finishes 33rd, 123 laps down. And that's your unofficial race results presented by LiveSimRacingTV.com.
We'll see if we can potentially get the word from Daniel Eberhard and Jackson Crowder and Dalton Collins. We'll reach out to them to get them going. But, you know, while we're still on air, I'm watching the FTF broadcast, and Ray Alfala, 2 laps to go. They're in a green-white-checkered. Alfala holds the lead over Hump and Seth DeMerchant. They're fighting for second between the 12 of Hump and DeMerchant. Ray Alfala takes the white flag here. 1 lap to go for them in split 1. He's through turns 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. He has no challenge from the back, about a half a car length. Alfala, 4-time iRacing eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing champion, comes off before he wins the split 1 coverage on FTF over there at the Bristol Motor Speedway. What a win for 4-time to put himself back into contention. First time we've seen the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series without him. But I don't think we're going to get any of these drivers. They might be celebrating with their teams. But final thoughts, Dan, as we're getting ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, for sure. Great race. I'm actually working to see if we can get a word on these guys before we go off the air. I know there's other racing going on here tonight, but like I said, great race tonight here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Like I said, it's like what we talked about at the top of the show. We had some green flag runs, and then we had all the yellows right at the end. It was quite a mess. But I would say these guys did a really good job trying to keep their trucks mostly clean. I'd say a lot of people are going to be really happy with their result, and there's a lot of what could have been, like in the Anthony Burrows camp, if he would have maybe made a different pit call. But at the end of the day, no matter what he did, he still came out with the top 5 finish. So we can still be happy about that, but I know we got to not get that win. But props to Eberhard, props to Jackson Crowder, finishing in the top 2 there. And, yeah, great night for the Ryko camp. And I believe we got Daniel Eberhard here on standby.
Yeah, and Jason, I'll give you the word with the winner of Daniel Eberhard.
Yeah, so we're
going
to
to
go
on
in
mute
chat.
in Discord.
We're going to have
go
to
to
go
Discord.
in and chat with him. Okay. Yep. Well, Mr. Daniel Eberhard here with the race winner himself. Dan the man. Man, you had to have the caution right there late in the going. Anthony Burrows was one of the fastest on the racetrack tonight. You caught him eventually right before that first caution on around lap 90, and you were really gained on him through the lap traffic, and then obviously the caution came out. And then we had that late race yellow. Do you think, obviously, staying out call for everybody behind you and everything like that, and especially the fact that, like, you know, Anthony Burrows decided to pit along with James Wenzel? Were you in shock, you know, when you saw Anthony coming to the pits right there?
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. It was what we got, like 5 to go. You're kind of danged if you do, danged if you don't in that situation. You know, if he doesn't pit, then probably everybody behind him pits. You know, or maybe 3 or 4 cars stay out with him, and that's not enough. You needed a big buffer, and luckily I got the buffer, but then we kept getting cautions, and them cautions make you a little bit nervous. Definitely when you pass the start-finish line, you're in turn 1 and 2, and they still throw the yellow for some reason. I was making a joke, I got to get the window net back up like Ryan Blaney at the All-Star race, so that was crazy.
Yeah, don't remind me of that, because I'm a Ryan Blaney fan myself too, and I was watching that. So don't give me flashbacks. But hey, if you would have had another green-white checker there were 2 drivers we were talking about up here in the booth. We were talking about Max Brady, and we were also talking about obviously Anthony Burrows. Max last pitted on lap 125, and then Anthony was the most recent driver to come in and take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. Do you think if you guys would have had another attempt at NASCAR overtime, do you think Max or Anthony would have had a shot at you, and do you think they would have caught you and probably passed you?
Max, really surprising, because didn't we lap him? I mean, what a hell of a comeback for that kid, dude. I mean, that's crazy to come back and finish 3rd, but I think Anthony had it in the bag if we had another yellow. I mean, he was, 5th right there on that restart, and yeah, I think he would have got it if we had a yellow flag. So, but the old Ryko Performance F-150 Rush Truck Centers brought it into victory lane. That's it's crazy. I mean, I can't believe we won a 2nd split race. Hell, I just want to be 1st split just to see if I can run with those guys.
Well, buddy, you sure enough probably can. Anybody else you got to thank besides those few sponsors that you thank tonight before we send you on anywhere to celebrate?
Yeah, all my teammates at Ryko Performance, once again, reiterate on that. Gossett Bus Lines, the team, Kevin King, everybody over there, Kenny Humpy, just all their help, you know, every weekend and week out. But mostly, you know, thank Ryko for everything they've done for us. And thank the good Lord above. Without him, none of this would be possible. And thank you guys for broadcasting it. Heck, this is just a race y'all don't even have to worry about, and it's fun just to see y'all and give my wife something to watch while she's trying to go to sleep in there. So got to thank her for supporting the madness of sim racing, and thank you guys.
Well, I'm sure she's going to continue to support the madness of sim racing. But that's Daniel Eberhardt coming home first tonight in that number 7 machine here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll send it back to Mr. Terry Radford for closing thoughts.
Yeah, we have no other drivers to grab. We've reached out to Jackson and Dalton, and no response. So from all of us over here at FTN and LSR TV, we'll say good night. We'll see you in, was it 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, Dover.
At Dover, yes, 2 weeks' time at Dover, and we'll shut this down. We'll see y'all at Dover Motor Speedway for race number 6. For this Road to Pro qualifying series, and I think we're about to take this over to dirt racing. So good night, and have fun.